Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. Sorry for the delay there. I'm just going to whiz through a current innovation challenge that we have up and running. The Can Do is really a Team Scotland approach. We're running this with Transport Scotland funding, and we're running on behalf of Transport Scotland and the Scottish government's agencies. So this is open for all companies, regardless of where you are in Scotland. So I'm just going to run through various aspects of the call, leave some time for Q&A. So so this is focused on zero emissions heavy duty vehicles, and that's zero emissions at the tailpipe as well, which I'll touch on. Last year, some of you may be aware, we ran this this type of call, but focused it specifically on and off-road segments of HDV. We're now opening it out into the rail, marine and aerospace, as well as on and off-road as well. So it's a much wider scope. In terms of what we're trying to do, really this is it sounds a bit crude, but it's a bit of a fishing exercise. We're looking to use this funding to flush out the best that Scotland has in terms of innovations that can impact upon zero emissions heavy duty vehicles to support the commercialisation and the decarbonisation that goes along with that. But obviously, as well as that, we're looking for the economic impact from Scottish companies and supply chains. So it's a short project. We are looking to fund projects over a 3 to 4 month period. So yeah, really short and sharp, but really giving you, the companies, the ability to kick the tires on proposals, to flesh out concepts, to do some more detailed engineering on developed concepts, or look at commercial viability of proposals that are a bit more developed. So quite a range in terms of the R&D feasibility, but all about flushing out good projects, funding the best ones on a competitive basis, and allowing you to kick the tires and develop a business case for further investment. So what we're looking to do is flush out projects and develop a pipeline, that can develop and commercialise solutions. So we're looking to work with you to levering larger support funding, and we'll touch on those, and Stuart will touch on the specific ZEMIF fund, Zero Emissions Mobility Innovation Fund, as well. In terms of the focus areas, we are on the zero emissions at the tailpipe, as I mentioned. I made the classic innovation faux pas of specifying last year battery electric and hydrogen. And one of the projects we funded was the air-powered drivetrain, so kind of in the public domain type thing as well. So we were guilty of solutioneering there. Zero emissions at the tailpipe, battery electric, hydrogen, air, or any other that you can think of that would meet that zero emissions in terms of emissions impact on the climate. We're looking at whole vehicle innovations, but also subsystems, because the whole vehicles, it is pretty niche. Heavy duty vehicles, zero emissions at the tailpipe, but by opening up to the subsystem innovations that you can see there, I'm not touching too much detail, conscious of time. There's real scope for Scottish companies to get involved in some of these components and subsystems underneath and supporting the vehicles, some of which you've heard in previous presentations. In terms of eligibility, we are obviously looking for R&D feasibility projects that really have to address the challenge brief, and all the information's online, and I'll provide the link to that. We're looking for folks who are developing and commercialising technology and our IP and technology. This isn't suited for feasibility to decarbonise your own fleet. That's a good and right thing to do, but this project's about innovation that can then be developed and commercialised. It's 3 to 4 months, I should say there, short and sharp, 30 to 50k, but importantly 100% funded. It's quite unusual. That's the carrot, if you like. We'll be using de minimis or minimum financial assistance, depending on where the subsidy regime is by then, but effectively it's 100% funding to cover those costs, and they all need to be complete by the end of March 23. I mentioned before, it's open to all businesses, regardless of where you are in Scotland. It is businesses. If you have partners, say for instance in the universities, they need to be in as a subcontractor or supplier. It's a single applicant, so we'd encourage you to partner and collaborate, but in terms of the way the grant works, it's a grant to the applicant and anybody else needs to be in as a subcontractor or supplier. We are looking for businesses, like all Scottish enterprise supporters, to be engaging towards fair work principles and practices such as the living wage, which is currently about £10.90 an hour. Eligible costs is all the standard ones. We actually mirror the SMART application funding categories. It's sort of like a cut down, simplified SMART process. So yeah, range of direct and indirect costs there in terms of your labour, your sub-suppliers. Also important to indicate there that the way to speed the process up, and particularly the claims up, we are, like the SMART grants, requiring an accountant's report to be part of that process and funded by the project, but that is an eligible cost, and that's included within your cost breakdown. It just speeds things up at the other end. In terms of the evaluation criteria, I'm not going to labour too much on this, but those are the sections in the form, which is online. We've really cut this down. It's a simple form to respond to and apply. Looking for your project proposal to obviously fit with the challenge brief. All the information's online. We want Scottish economic impact in terms of jobs, turnover. We want projects that are going to be innovative. So you've got to show that you are aware of what the competition is doing and your innovation is providing that competitive advantage. Which links into the commercial potential in terms of the scale and also the opportunity to exploit. So we're really looking for you to tease out the customer, the value proposition to them, and more importantly, the kind of routes to market, and provide a viable and a convincing plan that you not only can conduct a feasibility project, but that you're switched on in terms of how you're going to then develop and exploit the technology. We'll be looking at the quality of the team that you present, and also if you've got gaps, how you're addressing gaps. It's inevitable that not all businesses has all of the skills and experience in-house, so quite legitimate to be looking at bringing others in. We'll be assessing the project plan in terms of its credibility. It's how clear is it, how credible is it, how robust is it, how well do you identify and manage risks within the project as well. And really looking into the feasibility costs, short and sharp, but we'll be looking within those costs for you to have some sort of justification and represent decent value for money. And the last one's just the need for support. What would happen if the project wasn't funded, and what would happen if it is, and is there a material difference and an impact from that? Winners last year with whole vehicles in there, with a battery electric bus concept, a couple of hydrogen trucks, but more on the subsystem side of things with their powered drivetrain system. We had a few projects looking at optimizing EV charging, good few projects looking at the hydrogen fueling systems and the pressure, volume, temperature conundrum, and optimization of those systems within those thermodynamic constraints. A few battery system projects, established players looking at manufacturing improvements, new electrochemistry providers looking at new applications and transport applications for the first time. And so focusing on the hydraulic systems and energy management and optimization, quite an important area there actually, in terms of utilizing the scarce energy that's in the batteries or the hydrogen fuel cell, and recognizing that the hydraulics aren't always optimum in terms of energy management. And some interesting projects, and one interesting winner in optimizing the control system. A lot of the control systems are kind of off the shelf from OEMs, and yeah, there's real benefit to be gained in terms of customizing that control system for the particular duty cycles that you're seeing. So yeah, just a few examples there. Touching into wider support, Dan was touching on it there. We've got Stuart going to talk in detail about this larger investment Transport Scotland have made in the Zero Emissions Mobility Fund, which hopefully will be of interest to some of you here today. We also have a low carbon manufacturing challenge fund, which is open. Again, both of those funding R&D, and also the low carbon manufacturing challenge fund is funding capital investment. Those of you who have accessed the old regional selective assistance, it supports things like process improvement, capital grants for expanding or modifying premises and such like. But we also are able, through ourselves, High and our south of Scotland agencies provide access to wider funds. Without going into the detail of them, just thought I'd list the website there, which shows all these funds listed, but also provides a searchable database as well. I would point you towards the business support website. That's all the partners, as well as the grant support. The individual business support services are all in there for the particular economic development agency or local authority delivery partner. And lastly, just touch on something that we've been developing with Stuart and Transport Scotland and others, where we've got the zero emissions HDV innovation system players together. So there's a whole host of support out there, which can be really confusing. Make no bones about that in terms of trying to navigate that as a company. Hopefully, working with Dan and the team and Stuart and some of the others who you'll see their logos there, we're looking to provide, I suppose, seamless and clear integration into the appropriate support at the appropriate time. So anyone that's supported through this call will get a dedicated specialist to work with them, and then bring in the relevant parts of the infrastructure, be it expertise or be it test and demonstration infrastructure or particular funding streams. The point is we're working together and working towards making that as clear and simple for companies to navigate as we can. Timeline there, yeah, call's open now. Deadline's coming quite soon, 20th of October, so still time, short forms. I say plenty of time to get your application in. It's a really hard drop dead timeline because it is a competitive call, and we're looking to turn around the decisions and contracts to kick us off early December with an end of March finish. So finish with next steps. Visit the challenge page. All the information's on there, including the downloadable form. Fill the form, send in the application form to the email there, and all this is on the website and form as well. And if you have any queries, just drop them in there and they'll get passed to an inquiry team who will respond to you directly.